God, if you are real and you changed Bill Corum, I will live my life for you. Like how I did that. This is The Ultimate Pardon by Bill Corum. I chose this book because 2.5 years ago, I read this on night shift. It was the only thing that could keep me up at my job, and I was in awe. What am I reading? This is on the floor at my job. Do you guys know where I work? I work at Johnson County Juvenile Detention Center with kids that are, what would you say, delinquent. They like drugs, they like to fight, they like to shoot guns. Anything you can think of that deserves jail time, that's probably what I got in my facility. Sometimes we have sink cases, and those are really sad, but a sink case is a child in need of care. Most of the time, it's kids that are doing something that's not good for our community, and we have to keep them away from the community. So, this book was in my job, and I said I need to read it because I need to figure out why we have a guy that's from church named Ron Stiles presenting this to my kids. Like, what are you doing? There's a gun on there. What is that? I don't know why my kids would want to read this and how it would help them. I think it would just make them worse. So let me read this. So it helped me stay up a little bit on night shift, and so I was kind of happy about that, and I continued reading it. I'm a really, really slow reader, so it took me a little while to read this. The Ultimate Pardon, okay? This book, I'll get to that. Anyways, let me tell you a little bit about this book. The author is Bill Corum. His name is William L. Corum. He's from Raytown, Missouri, pretty much Kansas City. He's a native to our lands. Amazing, right? It's a true story. Dun dun dun. What's it gonna be about? I'll tell you. This guy grew up. He was kind of a rebel since he could remember. He didn't really like to do what he was told, but he would be sneaky about it. So he got into a good little clique of friends, and they were just horrible. They were drug addicts and all kinds of stuff, and he wasn't really into that, but he wanted to hang out with them because he thought, ooh, rebels, yeah. So he hung out with them. His best friend died of a drug or alcohol overdose. He vomited and kind of suffocated on it. So it was a major point for him. He lost his best friend to something like that, and most people would be like, well, I'm not going to do that, but I guess that encouraged him to get into that kind of lifestyle. He dropped out of high school. He started using really bad. He started drinking really bad. He was really addicted to pornography. He would go to like 18th and Vine, he said. That's like close, right? He'd go down there and he would pick up prostitutes, and it got so bad that he found friends that they would pick up the prostitutes. They would like put knives to their throats and take their money back. Okay, why am I reading this? Like, why is this in jail? I know you're wondering. Okay, so continue listening. This is going to be a spoiler, so if you don't really want to know, you want to figure out for yourself, stop now. He ended up joining the Marines, and I guess that's kind of what you did at that time if you weren't in school. He did not want anything to do with the Marines. It was all about following orders, and he's like, no, I'm not an order follower. I'm going to do me, you do you. He would sneak out, he'd climb the fence, and he'd go pick up a hooker, do some alcohol, some drugs, whatever was his fancy at the time. He was caught, like, escaping AWOL. He ended up getting sent to the Briggs for a few years, and I guess it wasn't literally explained, but I'm assuming that means that it's the jail for the Marines. So he went in there for a few years. His parents always visited him, always tried to preach the word of Jesus to him, and he's like, okay, come on, y'all. I just want to see y'all. I don't really want to hear about Jesus. Jesus ain't did nothing for me. Killed my best friend. I'm sitting here, like, really? So, everybody thinks if Jesus is around, we're going to all be perfect. And so that's what he thought. Well, if Jesus was really here, I'd be perfect. I wouldn't be dealing with any of this. I mean, I guess if that's how you feel, but you guys all attend Rockhurst, so I'm sure you have different opinions about that. So, anyways, he gets out of jail, or the brig, I guess. He decides to become a dealer. I guess he was kind of, like, always wanting to get money and always the best way to do it. He wanted to be at the top. He got involved with some really shady characters, and he became a shady character. He made it seem like he was one of the biggest coke dealers in Kansas City, which, I mean, it could be true. Nobody's reviewed it, this book, so He was selling to judges, he was selling to attorneys, he was selling to city council members. He was into, like I said, like hookers, prostitution. He got married a couple times. Second time, the lady stuck by him. I don't know why. He had 4 kids throughout all of this. He was living a double life with the second marriage. He said he put it all behind him, and he was really still out there selling and doing all that good stuff. And he got so hardcore into cocaine, he decided to kill somebody one night, and he went up to that guy's house to kill him and rob him while he was beating his head in. The cops showed up. I don't know how they showed up. It was like a miracle or something, right? They showed up, and the guy ended up living and trying to sue Bill Corum. And after that incident, he had to hide out, and he was able... Okay, so he got picked up that night. He was able to go to jail. When he was in jail, he made a couple calls because he had all that influence. He said, hey, I need to get out of jail. I need to go on the run. Like, get me out. He paid a few $1,000s. I can't remember the number because there was so many dollar signs in here. He paid a couple $1,000s. He was able to get out because the judge that was going to handle the case was actually somebody he had dealt to. He got out of jail that Sunday night, which is never, ever a possibility. I don't know how that happened for him. He got out of jail. He ended up going on the run. He said, I'm not taking a plea bargain. I don't want to do any of this. They kind of hid him out in a barn for a little while, and he realized, like, I'm hiding, and that's not the type of person I am. I want to be at the top. And he said that quote that I read at the beginning, God, if you are real and you change Bill Corum, I will live my life for you. Miraculously, throughout the rest of his life, he's been seeing Jesus throughout everything he does, and it was a miracle for him to go from all of that to now he goes to prisons and he goes to jails. He tries to preach, and he actually was a part of building a jail. It was called Integrity Corrections. It was ICC, Integrity Community Corrections. He was trying to help people understand, hey, you know, you did bad stuff, but you can do better. You don't have to worry about the past. The past is the past, as long as you want to do better. And that correlates to the ultimate pardon, because he's tried for the past several years and he still cannot get a pardon from the government because of the stuff he did was so horrible. I mean, he didn't deserve a pardon for that kind of stuff, you would think. But now the fact that he's doing so much better and he's trying to help people, he's changed a few lives. He's led them down the right path to Jesus. But he cannot get a pardon from the state. And the ultimate pardon for him is to know that God is there with him. God is going to open up the gates for him, and he's going to pardon him of all his sins. Even though man cannot do that because we have to see the past, Jesus will forgive him, and that's his ultimate pardon. I loved this book. It took me a couple weeks this time around to read it, which is way better than last time, but I love it so much because obviously where I work, the kids, they think, oh, I'm done. You're 15 years old. How are you done? Well, I dropped out of school. I can't get past 6th grade. And I'm like, okay, but you still have time. You're still alive. Like, you're still breathing. Go. Do it. You got time. And they just don't see anything better for themselves. And this book really, really, really was amazing because it shows you, like, this guy was horrible. Horrible. He should have died so many times. And, I mean, there's so many details in this book that I wasn't able to share with you because I don't have that much time. He was a horrible person. A horrible person. And he changed his whole life around. And it was just the power of prayer, I guess. He was able to allow Jesus into his life. And, I mean, I'm not going to sit at work and be like, Jesus loves you, let's get it together. I'm just not that type of person. Instead, I'm going to show him, hey, you're a person, I'm a person, we make mistakes, we got to get past it. As long as you live the right way, you got to have good in your heart. You can't have that evil. You're going to do good in your life. And I think this book demonstrated that so much. I love this book. And I've been saying that for 2.5 years, and I really couldn't explain why because I forgot most of what happened in it. But I decided to read it for this reading class, and Miss Walter, you're something. You had me reading. Thank you. I actually really, really was happy I got to read this, and it made me kind of appreciate reading a little bit because I had to understand what was going on in this book for the class, and I wanted to be able to explain every single detail, so I paid attention really closely, but I was really happy. And you guys see I'm in my PJs, I'm in my night area, because that's the best time for me to read, and I was able to appreciate this at night. It helped me relax a little bit. In it, I just want to show you this because I loved it. I got it signed by Bill. It made me feel so good. So, I love it. And obviously, I love the story behind it. I want you guys to read it. I know I explained everything to you in detail. I'm sorry this is so long. I didn't even realize I was going over that long. Read it if you get a chance. If you don't, it's okay. I can tell you more about it in person or email, you know, because I really, 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 really like this book. And I'm not just saying that because I want to, like, say that. But I really, really like this book. It's really, like, intriguing. So go ahead and give it a shot if you like it. The Ultimate Pardon by Bill Corum. He also directed a movie called Heart of Stone. It's based off of his life, too. This is autobiography of Bill Corum, in case I didn't say that. The movie's not as good. I saw some clips of it, but I couldn't find the actual movie. It's in prisons, though. Okay, this is way too long. You guys enjoy. You're welcome.